Hello everyone, love to see you here today. This is my video on the new ColourPop collection, but also just, I thought I'd try to work it into a mostly full face of ColourPop. I am talking about the new like secret admirer stuff. We have an eyeshadow palette, we have some really adorable blushes. I thought this was a really cute theme for a collection, so when it came, I immediately took interest. There's a couple of Soul body products, Fourth Ray things in this line as well, so I thought I'd just kind of mesh this in with some other ColourPop stuff and really talk about everything, you know? Also, I've got in my jumbo size of the T3 rollers, which that set actually incorporates a largest size and then like a little bit smaller size, but I think that's going to be perfect for my newly layered hair. I think the 1 inch, which is really harder to find anyway, those make the curl just a little bit tighter than it needs to be, and with T3 rollers, like my curl really holds with this stuff, so I think these are going to be awesome, and these are much more easily accessible. They're more expensive than the rollers you pick up at the drugstore, but I swear they lock in the curl 10 times better on me, so I'll link to them below. So I'm going to start off using some of this Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Acid Tinted Moisturizer from ColourPop. I wear it in the shade Light 5N. And you know what I've been seeing a lot of lately, guys? When somebody's got a pump of something and they're doing a look on social media, it's like they slather a pump on their forehead, a pump on their cheek, and by the end of it, I'm counting like maybe 4 pumps on a whole face, when I'm like, I use 1 pump of this stuff, and this is like a light product, actually just kind of spurting out a little bit, but I know what a pump looks like from this stuff, and that's all I used. But like, do we really need that much product on our skin? Where is it going? Are people not feeling completely overloaded, like they've got an ocean of goo on their face to blend in after that? Just something I noticed. This is really lightweight, okay, guys? This is the Tinted Moisturizer. I know they have a foundation. I had the foundation at one time. I thought it was actually pretty decent coverage, but it like started to look really, really separated. I didn't feel like I could get it back to the right way. It was the right like composition, or you know, get it all worked together in the bottle and whatnot. So I actually let that product go, but I still have this tinted moisturizer. I'm doing like, I don't know, maybe an extra third of a pump just to see if I can build up my coverage a little bit with this. It's really light. The most recent like tinted moisturizer I've been using has been the Glowish from Huda Beauty, and it's more matte on the skin than that one for sure. Not as glowy as the Wet n Wild Bare Focus, but yeah, the coverage is somewhat buildable, so that's pretty much a pump and a little bit more on my skin right now. Oh, I also wanted to mention, from this new collection, they have something called Good Together Moisturizer and Lip Mask Duo. So the lip mask, you've probably heard me talk about that before. I think it's amazing. This is the one in strawberry. It reminds me most of the Laneige lip sleeping mask, so I think that's great. And the moisturizer that's in here was one I'd never tried before. It's called Good Mood. I'm more familiar with the one called the Daily, which is a little bit richer, more hydrating. This is a light gel moisturizer, and I do have that on all over my skin underneath my look today. And it does feel super light, but I will say my skin didn't feel like it drank up all of it. I still felt like I had some nice moisture on top of the skin. So while it is light, I do feel like it's still hydrating, but maybe not the best pick for the driest of the dry skin. But you do also get the strawberry lip mask. If you haven't seen that before, I'll just pull it out. That is a full-size product in that duo. Also, if I didn't have hot rollers in, I would totally be wearing these little clips that look like jelly hearts. Aren't those precious? Just to keep the hair back, or maybe, I don't know, for a whole look throughout the day. I love those. Then I'm going to move on to the Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Creamy Concealer, and this is in Light 33C. This and the Tinted Moisturizer are both products I've had on hand for quite some time. I find this concealer to be very brightening. I've really gotten along well with it. Nice coverage, lightweight. I don't know about anyone else, but it kind of reminds me of the vibes I get from like a Maybelline Instant Age Rewind. It's sort of like that light texture, but it's not drying, but yet it's not quite as thick and hydrating as e.l.f. Camo Concealer Hydrating version, you know? But look how nice of a job that's doing on the under eye, that shade that might have even appeared to be a little bit light for me. And to touch the under eye, my skin feels really hydrated right now, and I don't feel like I even overuse the product. So if you're placing a ColourPop order and you're thinking about things that offer a little bit of hydration back to the skin, right now all over, I'm feeling pretty dewy and hydrated without looking exceptionally glowy. And then, my friends, the newest addition to the Pretty Fresh line is the pressed powder, and this is just a standard pressed powder, not a powder foundation. I wear it in light 7. This to me is an okay pressed powder. I think it's really good that they have something like this available in their range. You know, if they're going to put out foundations and tinted moisturizers and concealers, I think they should be having a powder. This is a shade that I feel like can kind of work all over my skin. Like, see how I was able to set the under eye and it doesn't look too dark. And I think part of that too is because this is not a super full coverage powder either. It mattifies, but it doesn't feel like powder foundation on my skin, you know? So I can wear it lightly pretty much all over and it's not causing me any issues. I'm really just hitting the T-zone now with my e.l.f. small tapered brush. But yeah, it's a decent powder. It's nothing where I like ditch my favorite powder for this stuff, and I certainly am not quite as impressed by this as I am the new e.l.f. camo powder, just because that is really more of a true powder foundation. But I'd be lying if I said this wasn't accentuating the coverage overall of this look. I mean, have you seen what's happened since I've been dabbing this on? More matte and a little more coverage. This is a product that I think has the potential to be a little bit buildable. There is a nice softness to the texture, and I feel like you could put some on and then add a little bit more and feel like, wow, maybe I have truly enhanced the coverage of my look. But at the same time, I don't feel like it's necessarily moving mountains beyond various pressed powders that I've used. I wouldn't say this is so much better than L'Oreal True Match or the Revlon Color Stay Pressed Powder. I don't really feel like this is any better than those. Now for bronzer, I really don't have much from ColourPop, but I do have this little quad and it looks like it has a bronzer in it. It's called Giddy Like and it's right there. So I figure I'll just use some of that and then I will jump into the new blushes from this Secret Admirer line, which are totally adorable. Like, the packaging is so cute. I love the feel of it, the shape of it, the look overall. Now, I got this collection in PR, and I don't know what the cost of everything is yet because it's not even like public on the ColourPop website yet, but I'm feeling really curious about what they're going to charge for those. And if it comes up before I post my video on this, I'll like add it in editing. But it just feels like a more deluxe feeling component, you know, that blush is sitting in than your usual stuff. This bronzer I don't love, by the way. It's very, very warm. I predict that in the coming season, ColourPop is going to come out with bronzer options, more of a bronzer thing. Bubba's waking up way too soon. Bub's dealing with him. I hesitate to build this bronzer up too much because I just don't want that much like bronzer warmth on the skin. In a perfect world, it would have been a little bit like deeper and cooler, but texture wise and pigmentation wise, I'm okay with it. We've got 6 different blushes and they are this like soft kind of matte feeling packaging. They're so cute. They're kind of thick, these little hearts. This one right here is called Kiss and Tell. This is one of the softest shades, and by the way, they all seem matte on the inside. There is a mirror, but I haven't pulled all the films, but we have this light kind of peachy nude shade. Oh, this was the one I used yesterday called Let's Dance. More of a classic like corally peach shade right here. Still in that soft color family, we have a mauve. This is called Flirt Alert, and I really think this one's beautiful. Kind of one of those unexpected shades. It's like, how exactly is that going to turn out on my cheeks? I'm going to show you in this video. Also, another one of my faves, in addition to this, I love this one called Baby Cakes. Okay, this is intense. This could be for anyone. I always say that with blushes, like if you're willing to apply it lightly, you can get so much beauty out of a rich looking blush. So you're going to see those two going on because those might, I think, hold the most surprises for people. And then a couple of other fairly bold shades here. This one's called Forever Yours, and this is like a brighter peachy coral compared to the soft one that I first showed you, okay? And isn't it interesting how well they match the exteriors? With the exception of the white one, they really match the exterior to the blush shade. So more vibrant coral, and then we have a vibrant hot pink called Text Me. So that one looks like this. This is really pretty as well, but this one gives you more of that plummy richness in Baby Cakes. So when we're talking blushes and applying them, I can really only give you a sense of a couple of these at most, you know, at a time on my cheeks. So I'm going to use this one called Flirt Alert. This is our mauve-y, kind of neutral looking shade, sort of reminding me of a little bit of Benefit Dallas, you know, but a little more color to it, okay? Dusty Rose, my friends. Really pretty. I love that shade. I like that these are matte because a matte blush really allows you to go where you want to go with the shimmer in the look. You know, you can use whatever highlight you want to. You don't have to feel confined by your blush, and they can be more perfecting. If you get to the very tail end of your look and you add more of a matte blush, it will usually help in the disguising of the pores and stuff like that that has happened just as you've applied highlight and the look has set on your face just a little bit. But I love this shade. This again, Flirt Alert. Love that mauve-y Dusty Rose. And then we're going to add just a little bit more of this one called Baby Cakes. So you're going to see me put my brush in. Also, I like this formula. I'm not like pulling up a bunch of fallout at all, like no dusty kick up as I put my brush in. Just one small dab. Elf blush brush, and this is just gonna like give us even more rosiness. I'm going slightly lower on the cheek. Do you see how we picked up a little more rosy vibe? I'm going real slow with this though. See that beautiful rosiness here, more nude, here more rosy. Easy to blend, soft, but yet not uncontrollable in the compact. This is one of the high points, my friends, of the whole collection right here, these blushes. Again, I just hope they're not like super overpriced given the fact that their packaging is so cute and like just different, you know. But I really feel like there's something for everyone's preference in this line, whether you like a softer blush or you like something that brings the intensity a little bit more. I think there's something out there for anyone. Now there is sort of a highlighter in this collection, but they call it a shimmering body powder. So I'm not going to put this on my face. It also seems like it's pretty fragranced and it's a part of their Soul Body collection. And it has like a semi sort of fruity tropical scent. You can see that rose gold shimmer coming in huge there. It feels like the texture of, well, it got real soft on me there. It feels like the texture of like a Super Shock highlighter and can look very metallic. So I'm not huge into the body makeup thing. Another thing they have is a dry oil, and this can be very glistening. It ends up coming off on the skin like very fine glitter particles all over. Some people may enjoy that. I'm not knocking that concept. It's part of this, but I'm just not really, it's not the kind of thing I'm going to be putting on my face to show you in a makeup look. Okay, this is not part of the new collection. This is just a Super Shock highlight in the shade Lunch Money, and I'm just going to grab some of that. This is like a creamy texture. If you've never tried one of these, they go onto the skin so easily because while they feel creamy, they're not dewy, tacky, sticky. They almost make you think, is that a powder just at first touch? But no, it does have that creamy element to it. And I'm just applying that here on the top of the cheeks. I'm not going for the world's loudest highlight today, but just a little bit of glow on top of all this matte. I believe this is one of like the best sellers from ColourPop's line. It really is a nice product and you could go hard with that if you wanted a really profound highlight, but I love how subtle and delicate it can look on the skin as well. Then I'm going to use some of my Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Acid Setting Mist. I love the smell of this, but I haven't used this in a while, so I'm going to give it a couple test mists. I learned my lesson in my last video. Super fine mist, fresh, like really delicate scent. I can't even explain what I'm picking up on in that scent, but it's just really, really soft. And I do feel like now the look seems a little bit more one with the skin once I put that on. Now, I'm not positive that they're still selling this skinny brow pencil, but it's the only ColourPop brow thing that I currently have. It's in Bangin' Brunette, and this is the one I always describe as being so soft, like these wear down really quick. But because it says ColourPop, I'm going to use it today in this look. Such a soft pencil. Like in the course of doing my brows, I have to click it back up 2 times. But I gotta say the color is good for me, and you know, with just light pressure, I am getting a nicely filled in look. And I'm just gonna use the spoolie to take it on through. I don't know what Bub's doing with Bubba, but I hear little noises every so often. I know he's in there with him. We have just had a lot of sleep challenges in these past few weeks with him. And I feel like they started small and now it's like there's just such a resistance when it comes to the early morning wake up and then resisting a nap when he seems visibly tired. We're trying our best and I've looked up so much info on this and I feel like there's just some separation anxiety in there too, because like we have gotten him so active during the day and, you know, clearly worn out, and it's time for a nap and he would normally take to it, but he's fairly recently got it in his head that he does not want to be left, you know, he does not want to be laid down in that room. And oddly enough, like it will work for me at bedtime. Like bedtime is a different mental game for him, I guess. And some nights after I've put him down, he will wake up, but the initial put down is always fine at bedtime. But nap, not having it, and early wake ups and then trying to be laid back down, it's so hard. Like if I didn't have another adult here in the house, I wouldn't be doing these videos. If I were giving advice to a friend, I would just say, keep in mind things like this are temporary. My only answer to that is, how temporary? Can't take much more. I've been in tears a lot. I've been frustrated. That's when the realness comes out, when the Milani eyeshadow primer comes on. Okay, Secret Admirer palette, my friends. This is a very, very pinky palette here. Even the more rich shades, like this rich one right down here, this is called My Everything. And this shears out, like, which granted, we're shearing out everything kind of. As we apply eyeshadow on a day-to-day basis, we're taking something that looks one way in the pan and in some way, shape, or form, it's getting sheared on the eye. It's never gonna be as thickly packed on as a shadow is into an eyeshadow pan. And when this shade shears out, it starts to look pink. And this was my same sort of complaint about the one called Smoke and Roses, their giant palette. They had a nice deep berry in that, but when I applied it on my eye and sheared it out, it looked like magenta. And I have sort of the same complaint here. So I'm going to try to keep that from happening a little bit. I'm going to try to use more of a pack-it-on method with that, and we'll just see what happens. But if you're getting this palette, I'm just warning you, it's going to be hard to stay away from a pinky look with it. I'm going to take With Love up here. This is the least pinky, like maybe mid-tone color, and I'm just going to pop that in my crease. See how that's got some pink, but it's not like real loud. It still looks a little rosy though. But word of advice, you know, a lot of people say just tell them that it's quiet time, you know, and lay them down with a book. And I feel like, I don't know, if we're verging on a 3-year-old, maybe that could take a little bit better. But like this guy doesn't, he's not accepting like that normal reasoning so well. He's just mad that we're even leaving the room. Like that's the issue. It's not really like, I don't know what to do with myself, I can't fall asleep. If he'd just try to fall asleep, he'd do it fine, you know, and he's not really looking for a different activity. He just wants someone there. He'd prefer to sleep on somebody, okay? So that's just the color called With Love in the crease. I'm now gonna bump this up a little bit. We're gonna use Hey Girl right over here, which is gonna come off pretty pinky, even though it looks more like kind of dusty. Look how much pink that shade gives off too. Super duper pink. Tell me, what's your vibe for Valentine's Day? Like, do you go for something like a little more classic? Maybe you throw on a bolder lip, or heck, just a smoky eye and nude lips? Or do you actually try to do a Valentine-y themed look? I kind of like the idea of my last video, that chocolatey look. I thought that was kind of cool, but we're gonna take My Everything and I'm going to really try to pack this on. In some part of it, it's going to shear out because I will end up kind of like blending it into the crease a little bit. But can you kind of get a sense of what I'm talking about? How this shade that looks like it should be brick red is almost bringing some fuchsia vibes. I just wish colors like this that ColourPop makes would stay in their lane a little bit better. I don't want them to turn pink. And see, here we are looking very, very hot pink. This palette, in case you can't tell, like I'm not huge on it, okay? Some people who love a sort of hot pink eye might be all about it, but I just don't feel like I personally need a palette full of this, and I wish that the things that looked really dark or the things that looked muted, you know, stayed a little more muted looking, because this comes off real pink up here, this one, and this one too. And it's like that was those were supposed to be my like oasis away from some of the pink of the palette, but whatever. So the mattes in this palette are these three here and then these two, and then shimmer is right in here. We go from hot pink to a couple of like, I'll show you both of these in a little swatch. These are soft, shimmery textures. One is a bit more copper, and one is kind of like dusty mauve. They're kind of like mid-tone color intensities. Then we have this light shimmer up here called In the Mood. And I'm going to use my smaller Morphe brush, my M709. So a smaller flat brush that has a little bit of a point. And I'm going to really like pack this on. This looks so shimmery. I'm even going like kind of coming up just a little bit above my crease for even more like impact there. I'm getting just a little flakiness as I put this on, but it's not too bad if you're being careful. You don't want to do a lot of swiping back and forth. You just want to be like pressing this into the lid, okay? Definitely a shade that looks pretty around the innermost corner. But here we are, friends, with this eye look. I'm not really wanting to put anything reddish pink on my lower lash line here. I know how pinky that burgundy is going to look when I sheer it out or apply it lightly to the lower lash line. So I'm going to skip that. I'm going to do some eyeliner and mascara and be right back. I decided to do a pretty bold black wing just because I wanted, I don't know, I wanted like a border from this pink. I didn't want the pink to really rift into the eye and just look like it was sort of protruding from my eye. So I got that eyeliner on, and then I did remember I had this Level Up mascara, and I used that on my upper lashes and actually got a decent look of thickness there, I feel like. And I used a little bit of the Cali Ray Come Hell or High Water on the lower lashes. So another part of this collection that we have are some lip products. There are 6 of these Fresh Kiss lip colors, and how would I explain these? They call them a lip cream, and I think that's pretty accurate. They're in a doe foot applicator style packaging, and they kind of remind me of, does anybody remember the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte glosses? Like, they went on and they kind of gave you a shine-free appearance on the lips, but they were still creamy. They didn't really set like a normal liquid lipstick. And that's kind of what happens here. I feel like they semi-set, so they don't stay goopy or sticky on your lips at all, but there definitely is moisture that remains there and it can transfer off. So setting a little bit, feeling a little bit different, you know, after 10 minutes of wear than when you first put it on, but not setting completely, okay? So I would say there's 4 of these that are my favorite. I really like these soft, neutral kind of nudes that they put out, and then also the deep berry one. These 2 I didn't love. The one called Date Night looks like kind of a, I don't know, a brightish coral on me that I didn't love so much, and then this real pinky shade called Heaven. So I'm going to try on the faves here. The first one is called Smoochin', and it's kind of like a deep neutral. Let me put this on. It's got a little bit of a brownish thing happening, but I like it. Having a brownish vibe anymore is kind of a reason for me liking a lip color. I'd say these feel a little more like thick and moussey compared to the L'Oreal Pro Matte Gloss. But as you can see, pretty much free of shine, but yet there is kind of a creaminess that stays on the lips. I feel like I like this color a little bit better with maybe a different eye look, like a deep smoky brown eye. I think might be really pretty with a shade like this. But again, that one's called Smoochin', and it's kind of our little brownish neutral shade in this mix. Then I'm using the one called Makeout, and you can see this one's a little lighter. You know, normally I go light to dark. I really like that first one. This one I think is pretty too, though, because I like how it's nude. It's got a little toasty peach going on. It's deep enough nude for me to feel really comfortable in it. So that one, again, is called Makeout. And next up, we have a shade that I think is going to be really pretty with this look, and it's called You Are Mine. And this is sort of our dusty rose of the bunch, and I really like it. I think it looks so pretty on the lips. I like it in this texture. It seems like it has a little more shine as it gets applied than the other ones did, but whatever the case, it's the same kind of formula deal where you feel like it semi-dries down on your lips, but not completely. But isn't that pretty? That's a wearable pink, I think, for a lot of people because it's a little more dusty, it's a little more muted. And then this is Oh Baby, and this is the darkest one in the collection, but I do really like it. It's pure berry. It's just beautiful. I love that. I feel like these last couple have come off a little more shiny on the lips, but again, the same kind of thing happens formula-wise. They do like set up a little bit, but they can still transfer off. So not your most long-wearing lip option, but more long-wearing maybe than a lot of typical lipsticks might be. And then I'm just going to swatch out these other couple of shades here for you. One is called Date Night. That's this sort of bold coral, and then kind of a pure hot pink with the shade called Heaven right there. So those weren't really my faves in this collection. I like these more muted colors, and then this one, I think the one I'm going to wear all day with this look is the one called You Are Mine. So this was our Dusty Rose color. I've been going with some fairly bold lips this week. I want to do something a little bit softer today. Okay, my friends, I would not leave you out of the removing the rollers step of this process, so let's do that. Getting a nice kind of soft wave here, some volume. The clips with these are the best too. They hold it on so well. And then we have a little brush that did come with this collection. It's like a smallish sized heart-shaped brush, so why not use that as well? Let's wrap this up here. As far as the new stuff goes, my favorite parts of what came out new, probably these blushes. I do think there's something for everyone color-wise. My personal faves would be the one called Flirt Alert because I love a dusty rose, but also Baby Cakes because it has so much beautiful range. But there are 4 more really beautiful options there. I just hope they're not too overpriced. I also like the Fresh Kiss formula. I think that's interesting. I think it's interesting how after you have it on your lips for a little while, it feels like something's going on there with the formula. It's not quite as creamy as when you first put it on, but yet it's clinging to the lips a little bit better. So You're Mine, that's the one I stuck with for today, but there are some nice neutral options there. The berry, as I said. These clips, honestly, I love them. I think they're so cute. Again, I don't have a lot to say about the body products in this line because I haven't given them a lot of time or attention. But if you like a lightweight moisturizer, this duo I think is good because I love that lip mask in there as well. And you know, this is a decent try me size for a moisturizer. As far as all the other face stuff that I used, I mean, there are a lot of tinted moisturizers on the market. This is a decent one, but I really don't like it better over the Wet n Wild Bare Focus Tinted Hydrator. I am quite impressed by this concealer. I think that's one of the high points of the whole face coverage look, and I do like this highlighter a lot as well, the Lunch Money Highlight. And as far as this eyeshadow palette, friends, I love ColourPop's shadow quality, but this is just very pink, and so you know if you're a candidate for that or not. I feel like maybe not so much. This is the kind of thing I might glance at and say, well, maybe I could get away with that because I really like the look of this row over here, but it all comes off really pink in the end. I am really sorry if I seemed at all detached or distracted during this video. I just know that Bub's having some struggles with Bubba right now. I'm trying to get through this video and I'll jump in to help, but we've just had some rough days around here sleep-wise, and I pray that they get better from here. So thank you guys so much for your time today. Thank you for watching. Let me know what things you're most interested in from that new Secret Admirer range from ColourPop, and I will see you again very soon. Love you. Bye.